Hello, everyone. Really excited for another interview here on the Mason Earn Racing Videos page. We have young MaKenna Romuld out of, I believe, East Grand Forks, Minnesota, Grand Forks area, but
Yeah,
number 15 WISSOTA Midwest Modified, a rookie this season. MaKenna, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great, doing great. It's before the Memorial Day weekend, and there's a lot of changes with tracks canceling, and so I've been trying to kind of figure out the schedule and sort everything out from there, as I'm sure you are as well.
Yeah.
Well, this is your first year in the Midwest Modified. It's a really exciting journey for you. Kind of get to know you a little bit. What's your racing experience been like before this year?
So I started racing go-karts when I was about 5. It's called the novice class here in Grand Forks. And I guess I've been doing that since I was 14, and then now I'm obviously in the modified, so I've been doing it for 10 years. So I've had a little bit of experience obviously behind the wheel, and being in this modified is definitely a big change, but it's been fun so far.
I'm sure going from like the small go-kart track to the bigger track over at River Cities, although it's not too far of a like they're right next to each other, so at least you're familiar with the area. Did you I guess growing up in go-karts, did you have any like um anyone that kind of pushed you to start go-kart racing, or what kind of got you started doing that?
Um, I honestly can't even remember. I think it was one of my mom's old boyfriends that kind of started the whole thing of kind of, I don't know. I think one time he just bought me a go-kart and then just said, "Here, let's go race one time." And I went out one time and I got really scared, and then I didn't race the whole night. And I guess I finished my first feature one night. I can't remember when that was, but I was pretty scared, but then I got used to it and I'm here. So,
Awesome. Yeah, and I mean, I like I tell a lot of people with go-karting experience, I wish I would have had that growing up because I think I would have been, I'd be behind the wheel of a race car, but not doing this. So, kind of get the itch early on in life, so to speak. So, when you're racing go-karts and you kind of have the idea, like when did the idea start that you wanted to eventually get into the bigger cars?
so originally I wanted to be in a four or originally I wanted to get into a 410 sprint car, but nowadays those are so expensive, and just the amount of money that people put into these cars is absolutely insane. And then we came across this B mod that Jory Berg once had, and we talked with him and his dad Tim Berg about it, and said just like asked like what we had to do to get the car and like what we had to prepare for, obviously. And then we bought this car, and they've been helping us ever since. So it's kind of been a nice little change.
Yeah, and I suppose you've been going to the tracks a lot this year. I've seen you got to several races under your belt and kind of following Joy around. So I'm sure he's been pretty much a big help every step of the way as far as coming to the racetrack.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And like you got a really cool paint scheme on there. Any significance to the number 15 on your Midwest Modified?
I don't know. I really do like Donnie Schatz a lot. And I think when I was little, I just kind of picked that number, and I've just stuck with it ever since. So
Okay, nice. I mean, I don't know why I picked like 15 or 5, but those are my two favorite numbers too. And they've been ever since I've grown up. I'm not exactly sure why either, but hey, it's a good number, at least from my vantage point.
yeah.
So, what were your first couple races like behind the wheel of the Midwest Modified?
Well, I was really nervous, but I was excited to be bumping up from go-karts because I want a new challenge. And we've gotten into a couple of pile-ups, obviously. I don't know if you've seen some of my videos on my page, but it hasn't been fun. But I guess we get back to my grandpa's house and finish it right away and get the car ready for the weekends. But I can't remember when my first race was. I think it was in Devil's Lake. No, we had our first test and tunes in Devil's Lake, and that was really fun. I liked the car. And then Jory's been teaching me a lot about the car and how to drive it. So
Nice. And like even like with racing around other drivers, has that been any nerve-wracking at all or any concerns about that?
not really nerve wracking. I guess in one of the test and tunes in Devil's Lake, I went out with a couple of guys, and a late model passed me, and I spun out right away. And it kind of shifted my nerves a little bit. But mostly what just happens to me is a lot of adrenaline.
Okay. I
Yeah.
I can empathize with that. I've been in two mechanics races, and one of them I was passing someone, like so I was like, hey, I'm passing someone, and then another one just blew past me and it scared the heck out of me. So I empathize with you there for sure.
Yeah.
So you mentioned Devil's Lake, and obviously River City is your home track, is where you've been racing at. Any big like plans as far as the 2024 season on where you plan to race most of the time?
I think we were gonna try the Ada track. I don't know when, but then this weekend we are going with Tim and Jory Berg to Jamestown and then Watertown. We were gonna go to Forks this weekend, but it obviously got canceled due to the rain, which sucks. Because so far it's been one of my favorite tracks to race at. But I guess we'll try and do it next weekend.
Well, and that's cool that you got those couple of tracks coming up because they're similar in size to Grand Forks, and so you kind of get are used to the bull ring style a little bit. I assume, have you been to either of those tracks as a spectator or anything like that, or will this be your first time venturing to those places?
No, I've been to I the only track I've really watched at is River Cities, and I went there every Friday with my friends, but now I'm here in the pits again, so it's been pretty
Okay.
nice.
Yeah, and as you've been kind of working on your car in the pits, do you have like a working knowledge of everything going on in the car? Do you kind of like focus on something specifically while other people kind of do their thing?
Well, I was kind of just taught for this year being my first year just to focus on driving the car, but also I've been getting teached again by Tim and Jory Burke because it's Jory's car, and them two people have been helping us a lot with me like getting to know about the car, like the tires and all the stuff you can do to the tires, and just driving and like doing my lines, like figuring out my lines, and yeah,
Nice. Yeah, I'm sure it's a lot kind of to kind of take in all at once and kind of just little by little you start learning more as you go along for sure.
yeah,
Yeah, I saw you kind of got a little bit of a fender bender over in I think it was Buffalo River, right?
yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately that'll happen from time to time. So I'm sure that kind of helps with like the experience of working on repairing the car, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well, as far as people that help you out as sponsors, pit crew, feel free to give them a shout out here.
Yeah, I gotta thank Sound Decision, Dawes Detailing, Mallory Britton with Aflac, Napa Crookston and Welding, Best Used Trucks, Green Service Sales, Sensi and Sun Transfer, Senfold Egg, Advanced Egg Service, Chuck's Carpentry, Knutson Printing, Boxcar Brand, Premier Homes and Builders, Living Like Outlaws, one of my good friends, my mom's good friends, Dilly Dilly, and Backstretch Productions, and then my grandpa, my mom, my stepdad, and then Tim and Jory Berg. Without them, this obviously wouldn't be possible, and I wouldn't be able to move up into this big car and get this opportunity. So,
Yeah, definitely a big transition, but from the brief time I've seen you out there, you look really good out there, and so I think you're off to a really good start for 2024. Do you have any expectations or any goals that you want to hit for this season?
honestly, what I'm trying to get is a top five this year. It's been one of my big goals, and that's pretty much it. And just learning the car, learning about it, and yeah,
Excellent. Yeah, I think that's a good starting point, especially for your racing career, and really excited to see it unfold. I'm actually hopefully going to be seeing you over in Jamestown this upcoming weekend, and hopefully more opportunities down the road in 2024. So, want to wish you best of luck to you and your racing adventures for this season, and great to chat with you.
thank you.
Absolutely. Take care, everyone.